Today I have an amazing pleasure to introduce you to somebody that I just recently met. And one thing I love about doing these interviews is I'm meeting some really amazing people that are just doing all kinds of things. I mean, they're bringing to us lots of good nuggets about things they've learned through their entrepreneurial career, but also people that are trying different things. There's a lot of talk about multiple streams of income and how to keep yourself diversified. And this lady truly embodies that. And I'm so excited to learn more about her and share her with you guys. So I have the distinct pleasure today of introducing you to my new friend, Annemarie Tolman. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you. It's been awesome to be here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, Annemarie, tell us first about you. So, I'm going to learn a whole lot about you here in this series as well. But tell us about you. Who are you? What have you done up till now? And give us some background on some of the stuff you're involved in and why you're involved in that.
All right. I'll try and keep it short. So I'm the founder of Three Brain Solutions. I'm a nurse, advanced practice nurse. I came from the Netherlands originally. If you hear my accent, I was in my early 20s when I came here. Worked as a nurse for many years. Worked at Hopkins. Got my master's there. Really, truly loved it. And then I had my fourth baby that passed away. And I was like, I want to do something different. I don't want to keep on going with that constant rush that I was doing in the ICU oncology that I was doing there. And so I took off. I traveled the world with my kids. I homeschooled them. And then this itch came back to go back into nursing. And so I got my license back, spent about a weekend, 2 weekends at the hospital. And I was like, I don't want to do this kind of nursing anymore. I still love nursing. I still love being a nurse. But there was always that entrepreneurial side of me that I was like, oh, I want to do something more than that. I also really didn't like the system. So I came out. I did all kind of healing methods, started coaching, starting healing, and started really working with people on how do you change your mindset? How do you change your brain? And I've always loved the brain. That's something I found is as you're then suddenly in a position of like, well, what do you want to do, right? You've done all this stuff that was required of you. As a nurse, I was very clear. This is my job, this is my role. And yes, I went out of it. I did research, but suddenly I had this opportunity to kind of invent myself and decide what I want to do. And the brain always fascinated me. So I did a whole brain seminar with several experts. And I was like, wow, this really is interesting. And that's how I kind of started really going deeply into the brain and how the brains works, and that how Three Brain Solutions actually just came about in the end. It was fun.
Very interesting. I love this concept of, first of all, you talked about, doing something that you really loved. You were really passionate about it. You did it for a long time. And thank you very much for being a nurse. Particularly in today's world, a lot of people are really much more appreciative of that field because they now understand a little bit more about what it brings. But it's always been one of those areas that probably doesn't get enough attention for all of the things that you guys bring to our healthcare system. So thank you very much for doing that. What I really liked about this is, and I think a lot of people get stuck in this you're in some type of a career that for whatever reason you started in, and it may not have been like, oh, I came out of college and I wanted to do this, or maybe it was, but you did it for a long time and you said, gosh, this was great. I really love this. And then at some point you said, I don't love this. It's not the job I don't love there, but there's a piece of it that is just taxing, and I'm not happy. And so you said, let me just take a break and figure out what I want to do, because you obviously had a life situation that gave you that reason to stop for a moment, but you stepped back and then you went back into it and said, this really isn't exactly what I want to do anymore. And so you took that leap. And that's what I want to hear about that. Because so many people are at that point in their life and they say, I really want to do something else, but maybe I'm too old, or maybe I'm too young, or maybe I don't know enough, or maybe I don't want to go back to school, or whatever that is. And you said, nope, I'm ready to try something else. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was an interesting journey. And I think from the years that I had with my kids traveling, right, I had been so much used to the freedom of having my own life. And I think that really did encourage me. So when I decided to go back and found a system that I couldn't express myself in anymore, because I found that most of my patient care was actually not done with patients anymore. I was doing documenting and being on the computer, and a lot of the nurse assistants actually were doing the real interaction with the patients. And I started realizing that's not really who I am anymore. And it worked at one point, but not anymore. And then I think on top of that came some of my own challenges where with my kids and my own emotional trauma that I had in the past. And I was like, well, I can keep on going and keep on going and going, or I can stop And I think my kids kind of made me stop because there were some issues with them as well. And I was like, I gotta change something about me.
Mhm.
And I think that entrepreneurial side of me was like, well, okay, I want to change something about me, but I also want to do something that can actually benefit others and that can also financially benefit me. I think I always had that feeling of I want to make a difference. That happened at
Yeah.
Hopkins. That happened with the research that I did, and I was like, I want to make a difference. And I felt I couldn't do that anymore in that traditional being a nurse. But when I got into all these healing methods, into frequency and the quantum field, and really go more into that almost supernatural place, I found that I had healing methods that I could work with people, and that I, for myself, my trauma changed very quickly, and I could help other people change that trauma too. And suddenly there were people who came, and I just did a session with them, and I say, Annemarie, this has changed me more than working with somebody for 7 years has. And I was like, wait a minute. And I just had to stop still. And I'm like, I can keep on thinking that I have to keep on doing nursing. I can keep on thinking that I need to have all these degrees, or I can just do what is needed here. I can just allow myself to be okay with being a nurse, but making a difference in a very way that I never thought I would. And to
That's
me,
really
that was interesting.
powerful. And, as you're saying that, it would normally go back to some questions that I like to ask throughout our interview. Usually there's one that I ask a little bit farther deeper into it. But what I love about this is you just stepped back and said, wow, I understand what makes I like to say, like the hair on your skin just stand up, or your hair feel like it's on fire. But you've just backed right into that with our discussion, all before I even led us that way. And that's what I really like is that nursing was it. You really liked that because you were helping people, but you realized that what you were having to do in that role wasn't satisfying you and wasn't doing what you wanted. So you figured out how to take that passion or that magic that you have, that gold, and turn that into here's how I'm going to help people, and I'm going to satisfy this magical feeling that I need to be able to do what I'm doing. So talk to us a little bit more about what you're actually doing. What is your business? How did you start it? What does it do? Give us some infomercial information about your business. Tell us about what you do and why we need it.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you. And I think we, in the changes that we make in our entrepreneurship or in our businesses, we kind of inherently have an idea already. I
Mm-hmm.
started with therapeutic touch way back at Hopkins with patients, so I knew already some of this. So I think we have instances that we know. So yeah, this really became about my business. I help people really step into what I call the thriving life they really want. And that means to think better, to sleep better, to feel better. And I do that in kind of two different methods I have. I really believe that the way we feel, the way we perform, the way we change in life really has to do not only with here, but it also really has to do with your heart and your gut as well. So the
Mm-hmm.
name three brains really came from that. We know mostly this is our first brain, right? And then the gut has been named the second brain, and the heart really is the third brain. So that kind of whole energy came concept. And that came from me from experience most of all. I started doing a lot of things when this whole new idea, well, actually throughout my life, but when I really came down to wanting to do this high performance coaching, I did a lot of it with my head first. I went to all the high performance seminars, Brenda Bouchard, Tony Robbins, I mean, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped, but it didn't really truly make a huge, like the ultimate change that I wanted. There were still a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
going on that weren't right. So the next opportunity I had was to go to Cape Verde, and I was there with my daughter doing beautiful work with people building homes, humanitarian work. But there I met some healers. And there people live so much into their heart space, so much more than we really hear, that it really opened up my heart. And I was like, wow, this is a very different way of being, of living. And so I started working with some healers there, frequency, energy, Reiki healers, massage therapists that were really much more in tune with the heart. And so I was like, well, there's that connection too. And then about a year ago, this really just all came together with looking at the gut, because I got in touch with a company, MI Global, and they really looked at the gut and how the gut affects and the serotonin levels. And I was like, wow, these three neurological systems are all impacting us in a very high level. And suddenly changes that took me years suddenly took a week. and now working with clients where they have years and years of trauma, or they have years or years of doing a relationship a certain way. And when we look at those three brains and we start actually changing that on both the physical, it's what I call a metaphysical level, everything changes like that. And suddenly the whole entire neurological system is able to adapt. And I think that's something we see nowadays. We have been used to living a certain way, right? And our neurological systems, our body knows how to live in that. But suddenly we were thrown in a total crisis, right, of COVID-19, and we had to change. We had to change how our bodies adapt. We had to change how our minds work, and we were able to. And I think we are able to do much quicker changes when we look at those neurological systems and start changing them with a simple formula that then people can have long-lasting change in their business and their health and their relationship, wherever it is. So to me, it's like this discovery of like, wow, how fast can this go? How much can we change our lives and live the lives we really want versus the kind of want. And that's kind of three brain solutions. That's what I. Yeah,
That's really cool. So how long have you been doing that as your main gig? When did you sort of put all of that together and say, all right, that's it. I'm going, this is what I'm doing. I figured it out and I'm ready to go. And how long has that been going?
So I think the whole process of getting first saying, I don't want to be a nurse anymore. And that's been about 5 years. And then the last year and the last 9 months have been really a deep dive into those three brains and start really saying that as something that I really want to do. And then I've also started building a team with Annemarie Global with that. So that as another income stream with that came as well. So yeah, it's been only
So
been a
talk
year.
about that for a minute, because here's the other thing that I really find fascinating, and with a lot of entrepreneurs, is this multiple stream of income thing. And we talk about this because, guys, this what's happening right now is a perfect example of why that's a really good idea. Maybe you have a passion for several different things. There's a million things out there, but this is so cool because right now, when all these different things are going on, the traditional brick and mortar is not where it's at and is probably not going to be that fruitful for quite some time. So you have different things going on because of different things that pivot in your life. For example, you're talking about, a personal trauma situation. There are certain things that happen if you have multiple streams of things going on. Some things, once you build them and get it set, sort of work on their own a little bit, and you don't have to be present. So talk about that just a little bit, why you chose to do something like that, what you're doing, and how it sort of fits into your overall picture, because I think it's a fascinating piece that we all need to understand.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, and I love that piece. I think for me, this is multiple income streams, right? And so a year ago, I got in touch with Annemarie Global, which is all about mental wellness. It's a mental wellness, high performance, and again, has physical products according to this brain gut connection. So it all really fitted into my thought patterns and my way of doing as well. It was just something that was ready to go, which was really nice. Because ultimately, I think in my own high performance business, my coaching and healing business, that's all me. That's all dependent on me. If I'm not there, it's not going to happen. And yes, I do a lot of that over the phone, over Zoom. I teach people how to do it, but it's still me, only me. What I have loved about Annemarie with that is it's also a direct marketing company. What I have loved about that stream of income is that it's all not dependent on me. That if I go to Cape Verde or if I actually take off a week, it is still keep on going. So that's been the one advantage. But on a deeper level, it has allowed me to work together with phenomenal women, also a few men, but mostly phenomenal women, where we collaborate in a way that it benefits us both and it benefits us long term. And I think in entrepreneurship, it can be kind of lonely sometimes when it's all dependent on you, right? So now to have a long-term income stream, and the company is only 2 years old, so it's a really beautiful place to be. But to have a long-term income stream where you can collaborate with other people and you can do things together and you can form a team, it's just phenomenal. So I love that. It also has allowed me to bring my gifts on a little bit of a more affordable basis, because my high-end coaching is still, I value my time, I value the people's time. But here we have a way where I can do group processes, where I can work with people, where I can teach people how to be an entrepreneur. Some people come to me, they've never been an entrepreneur. And here I have a way to say, well, come with me, I'll teach you. But it also benefits me long term, right? Whether or not they ultimately go with it or not. But there is a benefit. There's a reciprocal relationship. And I think that kind of leveraged relationship is what I really have loved. And I do that more on a volunteer basis as well, right? I have a group together with Jessica called Social Smart Women Love Social, where we actually help each other as women promote each other, right? It is still not as strong. I mean, it's beautiful. I love it. But when you have a financial aspect to working together, there's
Mm-hmm.
something in that. There's something into building together, into and also wanting to make a difference together as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we sometimes ignore that feminine piece of us, whether we're masculine or not, we're men or women. That feminine piece of doing things together, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I have loved building that and having my high performance coaching business at the same time. And yeah, you're right. It's doing in the long term.
Very
That's what I love to
exciting.
do.
So I
Yeah.
just want to shout out. There's a couple people that have said hello. Helen said hi. Kent and Michelle Miller said hi. Helen also said she loves direct sales as well. I bring this up because I think that direct sales isn't for everybody. But what I bring it up because there's a million different companies out there, and maybe there is something that aligns with you. And it's important to understand as solopreneurs, which is what you are. You are only reliant on yourself, even if you have some people that work with you, help you, whatever. You don't make money if you're not in the game the whole time. And so unfortunately or fortunately, that's a good and bad place to be. Unfortunately, sometimes you can't just take that. I need a break. I want to go on vacation for a week and nothing. Then you sort of stop dead in the water. And the other thing I want to point out with direct sales, which a lot of people don't understand, is you talked about going to a Tony Robbins, Brendan Bouchard event. Those things are thousands and thousands of dollars. And when you're involved in a direct sales company, they are training you with all that motivational stuff. So it's a really good place if you want to try something and get your feet wet. They teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They give you the motivational training, and they give you all the tools to do that particular business. So there's no matter what people put on it, there's no shame in doing a direct sales business. It's no different than doing a franchise. The difference is you're a one-on-one, so you're doing it yourself. The cost to get in is a lot less, so you can actually play around with this, and you can create an income that is working when you're not able to work. So I bring that up because I think it's so important to have these conversations about this.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up. And I always say, like, find the direct sales that you love, right? And no matter what, no matter if you're regular, find something that fits, that feels right for you, and go with it.
Yeah.
Because in the long term, it's such an easy way to build up a team, people around you. I mean, we go on vacations together. I mean, it's really that kind of feeling, right? So I love that piece for it. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Good. So let's talk about, what do you think, if you had to think about a really good piece of information for you to share with somebody who's thinking about starting a business, or somebody who is in a business and let's not talk about COVID-19 being the roadblock. Let's talk about a roadblock that you probably hit somewhere in your career and you said, oh my gosh, I can't get over this mountain, or I don't know how to do this. What did you do to accomplish that change? Because I really am trying to motivate entrepreneurs or solopreneurs that may be in these similar kind of situations. Part of the reason for our interview series, and I'm sure you have some really good pearls of wisdom there as well, and things that you can share about things that the way you overcame some of these things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. And I think for me, what helped me back most was my own insecurity about who I was and clarity about what I have to give. It took me forever to step into even saying myself that I was a healer, that I know how to help people with programs and brain systems that are not in place anymore. It took me forever to do that and say that publicly. There was so much insecurity around that and doubt around it. And I think for me, so I help people with that, but I think for me, it helped very much into getting some help myself. So I started working with another energy healer, Marla Ballard. And for me, actually we did it 3 times a week. We're still doing it 3 times a week. And for me, having regularly somebody or a system, whatever you want to do, to help me move forward and have all those programs and all those voices that are negative, and oh, you got to do this or you got to do that, to just have somebody that I really truly trust and can rely on a regular basis, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes a day. Like we do very short sessions 3 times a week. Well, the intention is to do short sessions. They often go longer than that. But I think you have to be able to step out of your old programming. And I think right now, with the energy that's out there, you can do that faster than ever before. So don't think that it's not possible. Don't think it's going to take years to get over the feelings of not being good enough or not being
Mm-hmm.
smart enough or all that kind of stuff. I believe it's there right now. And I believe when we truly step into what we love to do and we go with that kind of passion and we release all those programs and patterns, there's nothing that can stop us. And that's what I'm finding in my business, that things just open up. Suddenly people come into my world and they say, hey, like, you, do you want to do an interview with me? Other people that are coming suddenly, like, why are these people connecting with me? And I think it's because I step into that abundance nowadays and I've let go of all this limiting belief system more and more and more. So I would say find somebody to either help you with that or to do it yourself. But don't be stuck into those programs, because in the end, the systems are only to help you, right? But if you don't have the programs and the belief systems in your body, not just here in your
Mm-hmm.
brain, because I think we know it here. But if it just stays here, if you say, okay, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, and it's just here, it's not going to change your life. You got to get into your heart. You got to get into this whole entire system moving forward, saying, this really is part of my life and I can have joy and fun. And I can have fun in my business. I want to have fun in my business nowadays. So that's another thing. Have fun in your business. If it's hard, find the fun pieces again, because the fun pieces will move you forward like crazy, like nothing else. So,
I
yeah.
love this whole concept that you're talking about the clarity and the insecurity, and then finding someone to help you. Because guys, this is a theme in almost every single conversation that I'm having with entrepreneurs and sharing with you guys is mentor or a coach or somebody that you can just bounce something off of. I had a great conversation with a business colleague friend that I've interviewed that you guys probably met earlier in this series, but yesterday we just really just brain dumped, like threw stuff out there and said, what do you think about this? And how do you feel about this? You have to find that person. Annemarie is talking about her friend Marla that she's working with. You have to find that person that you're not afraid to say, I just don't know. I need help. I'm not sure what to do. And it goes back to this whole mentoring, coaching thing, the insecurity that we all have. And if you think there's one single solitary entrepreneur out there that doesn't have insecurity at some point, through any challenge that they're going through, or through any decision they have to make, or next step, or how they got to where they are now, you are totally dead wrong. Every single one of us have some kind of insecurity about some step that we know we've got to take, but we just don't either know how, we don't know what, we don't know who to talk to, and we're afraid to show that insecurity to someone else. So the whole concept of the mentor coach thing is huge. How did you find that it was okay, it was a good thing to make this decision and talk to somebody else?
Well, the funny thing is I've talked to people all along. So in the last 5 years, and I think that has helped me tremendously from the start, from when I've been. I think I've always been able to charge higher prices, for example, to really value my time in a good way, because I've had mentors all along. I think
Mm-hmm.
what recently has come to me more is to do it much more frequently than I ever thought about that I needed to do it. Because I've had mostly these weekly sessions. And honestly, it's been about a month now that I've been going to this every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday sessions. It's blowing my mind what's happening. It truly is. And I didn't even think about it. But actually, keep on sitting in that change, because the problem is when you do it weekly, you kind of tend to change for about a day or two, and then you
Yeah,
kind of tend to, I fall back. You don't do it. I even
sure.
work with one client right now, and he's always said, like, yeah, just the day before our session, I start really working. I'm like, well, let's do 2 sessions then. Let's do one on Monday, and on Monday I just do a very quick check-in with him. It's not even that long. A Friday is our longest session, but it's just to keep on going. So I would say, as you're working, be more regular, even if you do shorter sessions, right? But do it more regular so you stay in a flow, and things can happen 10 times faster than it can otherwise be. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I love this. And so if you were stuck in a room, elevator or whatever, room with 5 people that you don't know, and you guys were going around the room and said, here's what I do. Give me 10 words or less what Annemarie is.
Annemarie, okay. Better brains, better you. Actually, better brain, better you. Let's go thriving in your life instead of just living your life. That's what it is.
I like it. That has so much energy and so much power. That's fantastic. One piece of advice you could give everybody if they need, that you can think of that you learned the hard way, but boom, you're on past it now.
You're 100 times more powerful than you think. So stop playing small. Just stop playing small.
I love that. That's so powerful. Annemarie, if somebody wants to talk to you after today, how can they find you?
Annemarie Tolman is about everywhere. So it's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on even on whatever we have. I'm not on Twitter, but Instagram, it's also on Instagram. So Annemarie Tolman.
Okay.
The other one is tolmanannemarie@gmail.com is another way to reach me. And yeah, you can just text me, message me, whatever you want. And
Okay.
annemarie.tolman.com is my website as well.
I was just going to say, do you have a website? Do me one favor for everybody watching. As soon as we're done, type in the comments your website so that way everybody can find you if they need to, if they want more information. And is there any last parting things, anything you have special you have going on that you want to share? Any last things that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'd love to. If you go to annemarie.tolman.com, you always find specials right now. I am a high-end retreat again in the fall, so I would love to get people in attention to that as well. And I think the best advice is what I said before: is guys, start looking at what's possible, both in your business as well as MLM business. Start doing it. Stop thinking that because of your history, because of your trauma. I've had significant trauma in my past. Stop thinking that because of that you can't change or it's hard to change. Stop. There is an energy right now that is so incredibly moving forward that this is the time to change. So stop worrying about be wise around COVID-19, but start being creative and innovative around your business, because if you don't do that right now, the people who are innovative and creative right now will rocket in 2020, the rest of 2020 and 2021 and moving forward. They will rocket. So be creative, be innovative, and if you need help with that, yeah, I'd love to help.
Hey guys, I want you to follow Annemarie on Facebook. She does lives regularly with some really powerful information in a really fun, innovative way. If you've enjoyed this interview, which I just said, this has been so much fun. You have so much energy, and I just feel all energized myself and powerful. And so, I mean, you guys got to follow her on Facebook because you can see the lives that she does, which are very rejuvenating, and you'll really appreciate them. And thank me for sharing her with you. So, Annemarie, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate you being part of our series.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful series, and I love what you're doing, and I think it's phenomenal what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, thank you so much for your time, guys. Tune in. We have a couple more interviews today of, again, more people that I have just met. And so if you know somebody that, has some really good information to share that could help all the rest of us, please reach out to me and let me know. And for now, I really appreciate your time, Annemarie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Entrepreneurial Live Interviews. I'll be back again with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.